The 1980s were a great era for many car manufacturers, but for others it was a complete disappointment, giving rise to incredibly unpopular and downright ugly cars that people had no interest in buying. In this video, we'll talk about the ugliest cars of the 1980s. If you're ready, let's dive in. Number 20. 1980 Cadillac Seville. The 1980 Cadillac Seville was an attempt to blend luxury with a smaller, sportier model. However, its peculiar, coupe-like sedan design left much to be desired. The sharply angled rear and awkward proportions made the car look unbalanced and unattractive, standing out even among other Cadillac models of the era as a design misstep. Under the hood, a 5.7-liter V8 engine produced a modest 145 horsepower, which fell short of delivering the performance expected from a Cadillac. Fuel efficiency was also below average for the time, further detracting from its appeal. While the interior featured plush leather and elegant wood trims, the bizarre exterior overshadowed the car's luxurious cabin. The Cadillac Seville remains a glaring example of how bold design experiments can go awry. Number 19. 1980 Fiat Panda. The Fiat Panda was designed as a compact city car, but its utilitarian aesthetic lacked any sense of style. The boxy shape, tiny wheels, and disproportionate windows gave it a toy-like appearance rather than a sophisticated one. Powered by a 652 cubic centimeter two-cylinder engine producing just 30 horsepower, the Panda was suited only for urban commuting. On highways, its lack of power made it feel inadequate. Inside, the Panda followed a minimalist approach. The seats were thin and uncomfortable, while the abundance of cheap plastic surfaces made it feel more like a budget necessity than a practical innovation. While functional, the Fiat Panda was widely criticized for its uninspiring design and limited performance. Number 18. 1981 AMC Eagle Kammback. The AMC Eagle Kammback was a bold attempt to merge a station wagon and a hatchback, but the result was far from appealing. Its sharp edges, stubby rear, and awkwardly proportioned windows made it visually uninviting. The car was equipped with a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine, delivering a mere 84 horsepower. While its performance was lackluster, the Eagle Kammback's four-wheel drive system provided some capability in rough weather. The interior was practical but far from luxurious, with low-quality materials and a utilitarian layout. Despite its off-road capabilities, the Eagle Kammback's oddball design made it one of the most visually unappealing cars of the decade. Number 17. 1981 Triumph Acclaim. The Triumph Acclaim was the product of a collaboration between British and Japanese automakers, borrowing heavily from the Honda Ballade. However, its uninspired design failed to resonate with Triumph's sporty and luxurious image. The boxy body, oversized bumpers, and plain aesthetics lacked any real character. A 1.3-liter four-cylinder engine producing 73 horsepower powered the Acclaim. While fuel-efficient, its performance was underwhelming and failed to excite drivers. Inside, the cabin was simple and functional but devoid of any charm or premium feel. As Triumph's final model, the Acclaim's mediocrity symbolized the end of an era for the iconic British brand. Number 16. 1982 Cadillac Cimarron. The Cadillac Cimarron was Cadillac's ill-fated entry into the compact luxury segment, but it ended up tarnishing the brand's prestigious image. Sharing the same platform as the Chevrolet Cavalier, the Cimarron looked like a dressed-up economy car rather than a true Cadillac. The 1.8-liter four-cylinder engine produced just 88 horsepower, a far cry from the power expected of a Cadillac. Its lack of performance, paired with uninspiring handling, left customers disappointed. Inside, the Cimarron featured leather seats and wood trims, but the cramped space and subpar ergonomics undermined its luxury aspirations. Ultimately, the Cimarron stands as one of Cadillac's most significant failures. Number 15. 1983 Renault Alliance. The Renault Alliance was an Americanized version of the Renault 9, built through a partnership with AMC. While it aimed to be a compact, practical vehicle, its bland and boxy design did little to attract attention. The oversized bumpers, awkwardly small wheels, and uninspiring lines made it appear outdated even at launch. Under the hood, it featured a 1.4-liter four-cylinder engine producing 64 horsepower. While fuel efficiency was a strong point, its lackluster performance made it a bore to drive. Inside, the Renault Alliance offered basic features with a plasticky interior that felt cheap and uninspired. Though praised for its comfort and affordability, its unappealing design and uninspiring driving experience made it one of the least memorable cars of the 1980s. Number 14.1983 Glenfrome Facet. The Glenfrome Facet was an ultra-rare attempt at a luxury SUV, but its execution left much to be desired. Based on the Range Rover, the Facet featured a bizarre, boxy shape with an angular, almost fortress-like design that lacked any sense of elegance. Its mismatched proportions made it look more like a science project than a refined vehicle. Powered by a 3.5-liter V8 engine producing around 130 horsepower, the Facet had decent off-road capability but failed to impress on paved roads. The interior was intended to exude luxury, but the unconventional exterior design completely overshadowed any appeal the cabin might have offered. Rare as it is, the Glenfrome Facet remains one of the most perplexing designs of the 1980s. Number 13, 1983, Sbarro Mercedes 500 Porte Papillon. The Sbarro Mercedes 500 Porte Papillon was a custom-built oddity, taking the sleek Mercedes 500 SEC and transforming it into a four-door car with gull-wing doors. While innovative, the design felt forced, with proportions that didn't suit the extended frame. The gull-wing doors, which were intended to look futuristic, instead came across as gimmicky. The car retained the 5.0-liter V8 engine of the original 500 SEC, which delivered solid performance with 240 horsepower. However, the awkward design overshadowed its mechanical capabilities. Despite its uniqueness, the Porte Papillon was a visual mess that failed to capture the elegance and refinement of a true Mercedes-Benz. Number 12. 1984, Zimmer Quicksilver. The Zimmer Quicksilver was a neoclassic luxury car based on the Pontiac Fiero platform. While it aimed to evoke the grandeur of pre-war luxury vehicles, the execution was anything but grand. The stretched body, tiny wheels, and disproportionate hood gave it an ungainly appearance. Its 2.8-liter V6 engine delivered 140 horsepower, which was adequate but not impressive for its size. Handling suffered due to its unusual weight distribution and awkward dimensions. The interior featured plush upholstery and faux wood accents, but the garish design made it difficult to take the car seriously. The Zimmer Quicksilver became a symbol of how retro design could go disastrously wrong. Number 11, 1984 Ford Tempo. The Ford Tempo was designed as a practical, fuel-efficient car for the masses, but its bland and uninspiring styling made it a snooze fest on wheels. Its boxy shape, lack of detail, and awkward grille gave it a generic look that blended into the background. The base model came with a 2.3-liter four-cylinder engine producing 84 horsepower. While it achieved good fuel economy, the driving experience was dull and uninspiring. Inside, the Tempo was functional but lacked any sense of refinement, with cheap materials and minimal features. While it sold well due to its affordability, the Tempo remains a visual reminder of the uninspired designs of the 1980s. Number 10, 1985 Subaru XT. The Subaru XT was an attempt to stand out with a futuristic design, but it ended up as one of the most awkward-looking cars of the 1980s. Its wedge-shaped body, pop-up headlights, and asymmetrical steering wheel were meant to scream innovation, but instead left most people scratching their heads. Powered by a 1.8-liter turbocharged flat-4 engine, the XT delivered 112 horsepower. While it featured Subaru's renowned all-wheel drive system, the car's performance didn't live up to its space-age appearance. The interior continued the futuristic theme with an aircraft-inspired dashboard and digital displays, but the novelty wore off quickly. The Subaru XT's unconventional looks and modest performance kept it from achieving mainstream success, and today it's remembered more for its oddity than its innovation. Number 9. 1985. Chrysler LeBaron Town. The Chrysler LeBaron Town & Country tried to merge luxury with a wood-paneled station wagon aesthetic, and the result was polarizing, to say the least. The fake wood trim slapped onto the boxy sedan body made it look like a parody of itself, earning it ridicule rather than admiration. Under the hood, it offered a modest 2.2-liter four-cylinder engine that produced 93 horsepower, making it as underwhelming in performance as it was in design. The interior aimed for upscale but often felt cheap, with faux leather and plastic wood accents that didn't help its reputation. The LeBaron Town & Country remains a bizarre footnote in Chrysler's history, embodying the questionable styling choices of the 1980s. Number 8. 1985 Alfa Romeo Milano. The Alfa Romeo Milano, or 75 as it was known in Europe, was mechanically competent but visually divisive. Its angular design, complete with an oddly high rear end and mismatched panel lines, gave it a disjointed and unbalanced appearance. Powered by a 2.5-liter V6 engine with 154 horsepower, the Milano delivered respectable performance for its time. However, its styling overshadowed its driving dynamics, with many deeming it one of the least attractive Alfa Romeo models ever produced. Inside, the Milano featured quirky ergonomics and unusual control layouts, further alienating potential buyers. Despite its engineering strengths, the Milano's polarizing looks made it a hard sell in the competitive luxury sedan market. Number 7. 1986 Buick Riviera. The 1986 Buick Riviera marked a drastic departure from its elegant predecessors, opting for a compact front-wheel drive platform with uninspired styling. Its stubby proportions, overly boxy shape, and an awkwardly small grille turned what was once a flagship model into an aesthetic disappointment. The Riviera came with a 3.8-liter V6 engine producing 140 horsepower paired with front-wheel drive, a controversial move that alienated traditional Riviera buyers. Inside, the Riviera offered decent luxury features, but they couldn't make up for its lackluster exterior. Buick's decision to prioritize practicality over style backfired, and the Riviera's design is often cited as one of the brand's low points. Number 6. 1987 Nissan Pulsar NX. The Nissan Pulsar NX attempted to be a sporty compact coupe but ended up looking like a toy car gone wrong. Its strange modular design allowed for interchangeable roof panels, including a wagon-like rear, but the result was a car that looked mismatched and unfinished. Under the hood, it featured a 1.6-liter four-cylinder engine with 69 horsepower, offering little excitement to match its supposed sporty intentions. The interior was equally uninspiring, with a dated dashboard and subpar materials. While the modular concept was innovative, the Pulsar NX's odd proportions and underwhelming performance ensured it remained a niche curiosity rather than a mainstream success. Number 5. 1987 Subaru Justy. The Subaru Justy, while practical and fuel-efficient, was never going to win a beauty contest. Its tall, narrow body and awkward proportions made it look more like a refrigerator on wheels than a stylish car. The Justy's boxy design lacked refinement, and its tiny wheels seemed almost comical in contrast to its upright stance. Powered by a 1.2-liter three-cylinder engine producing just 66 horsepower, the Justy was built for economy rather than excitement. It did offer an innovative continuously variable transmission, CVT, which was ahead of its time, but that wasn't enough to distract from its uninspiring aesthetics. The interior was basic to the point of being Spartan, with minimal creature comforts and an abundance of hard plastics. While the Justy was practical for budget-conscious buyers, its plain looks and lack of charm kept it far from anyone's dream car list. Number 4. 1987 Cadillac Allante. The Cadillac Allante was General Motors' ambitious attempt to compete with European luxury roadsters, but its design missed the mark. While the body was crafted by Pininfarina in Italy, the awkward proportions and uninspired front fascia made the Allante look more like an average coupe than a luxury convertible. Under the hood, it featured a 4.1-liter V8 engine producing 170 horsepower. Despite its decent performance and advanced features like electronic controls, the Allante's high price and underwhelming styling left it struggling in the market. The interior, though luxurious, didn't feel cohesive with the car's exterior design, and build quality issues further tarnished its reputation. The Cadillac Allante became an example of unfulfilled potential, remembered more for its failed aspirations than its actual achievements. Number 3. 1989 Nissan S-Cargo. The Nissan S-Cargo was designed as a playful, retro-inspired utility vehicle, but its looks ended up being more cartoonish than charming. The car's rounded snail-like shape, complete with oversized headlights and awkward curves, earned it mockery instead of admiration. Powered by a 1.5-liter four-cylinder engine producing 73 horsepower, the S-Cargo wasn't designed for speed or performance. Instead, it prioritized practicality, with a surprisingly spacious cargo area for its size. Inside, the S-Cargo continued its quirky theme with a minimalist dashboard and playful details, but the overall aesthetic felt gimmicky. While some appreciated its uniqueness, the majority viewed the S-Cargo as an automotive oddity best left in the past. Number 2989 Lotus Elon. The 1989 Lotus Elon marked the revival of a legendary nameplate, but its design didn't live up to expectations. The car's rounded, almost bubbly shape felt generic and uninspired, especially for a brand known for sleek, cutting-edge designs. Despite its polarizing looks, the Elon performed admirably with a turbocharged 1.6-liter engine producing 162 horsepower. It was a front-wheel drive roadster, a controversial choice for Lotus enthusiasts who associated the brand with rear-wheel drive purity. The interior was functional, but lacked the sophistication expected from a Lotus. While its handling was praised, the Elon's styling and departure from tradition alienated many purists, leaving it as one of the more divisive models in the brand's history. Number 1. 1989 Geo Metro. The Geo Metro was the epitome of function over form, and its design reflected that in the most unflattering way possible. Its bland, egg-like shape and tiny, toy-like dimensions made it look more like a cartoon car than a legitimate vehicle. With a 1.0-liter three-cylinder engine producing a meager 55 horsepower, the Metro was built for fuel efficiency rather than performance. While it excelled in gas mileage, its lack of power and uninspiring design made it the butt of countless jokes. The interior was equally minimal, with cheap materials and almost no amenities to speak of. While the Geo Metro served its purpose as an economical commuter car, its unappealing looks and bare-bones features ensured it would never be remembered fondly.